Hi there, it's Tim with Far North Magic. Today I'm looking to start a bit of a series that will look at cards that might get reprinted in Commander Masters. So, what I plan to do is look at 4 to 6, I guess 3 to 6 sets, and see what cards are worth what, and anything pretty expensive will probably be considered a target by me. And part of what I want to do with this is, has Wizards reprinted everything to dirt like everyone says? Because like a lot of people think that like everything is being reprinted to dirt. Um, so what can they put in this set to like help justify the prices, because the prices are out of control basically. And with a bunch of these cards only needing to be one ofs, I really think that a lot of the cards will have issues due to a lot of the price being scarcity. So with that being the case, some of these cards might be cards that are worth looking at moving off of if you have extras. So I'm not saying, hey, sell off all these cards because they're going to go down, because some might fall through the cracks still. But it's always good to kind of, I guess, mitigate some of the potential downsides on some of these cards that have appreciated, in some cases, more than you expect. Like, some of these cards are probably going to be priced much higher than what I would envision them being. So we're going to look at Commander, Commander 13, Commander 14, and Commander 15. So the beginning 4 groups of Commander decks, and see if there's any cards of any value in these groups. The decks tend to be worth a lot, but that's also because like they're so old. Like, you got some of these decks being like, the original Commander was 2011, so like 12 years ago. And let's just take a look and see what we can find. So with Commander that came out in 2011, we have Flusterstorm as the most expensive card. This card's got reprinted a couple times with Iconic Masters, Judge promo, buy a box for Horizons 1, I think. So I figured that's going to be a target. The Grave Pack, that's been reprinted a bunch of times, but still an effect that like people want. Then Champion's Helm, I think it's only got a reprint in an Invention. Homeward Path, that got reprinted in 2013, I think, for Commander. We got Aura Shards, that's an uncommon. That's pretty pricey. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually move that to rare, but then it's still gonna get a pretty. It would still get a pretty good print run compared to the more limited natures of the printings that it's had. We have Attrition and Insurrection up next. I'm actually surprised that Insurrection is still over $10. Lightning Greaves, the staple that never stays down. I think if people just bought Lightning Greaves when it was like, would bottom out at like $4 and then wait for it to recover, they'd be pretty well off. But I also feel that a lot of the old ways to do well are pretty much gone. Stranglehold had like the anthology reprint, and then a Judge Anmar got hit in, I want to say, Masters 25, so that might get hit again, I would think. Ruination, I don't know if they're going to put a mass land destruction spell in Commander Masters to get more of them out there. It's crept up, but like I thought it was like a $3 card last time I looked. Buried Alive and Windfall, those seem to be cards that are pretty resilient to being reprinted. Like Windfall was in like the Kaldheim Phantom Spirits deck thing, but still being like $6. Pyrrhemia would be an interesting card. You have Propaganda, Anger, and Skull Clamp. Those are all cards that like have had some. Oh, I guess Anger hasn't had too many reprints, but those have all bounced back a lot better than I expect. I also expect some of these cards, like a Riku of Two Reflections, like it did get reprinted, I think as a Judge foil. But I envision like some of these guys, like a Riku or something, getting reprinted just to get like variants out there. And then, wow, Vision Schemes. How is that $3? Ay. Edric, I would think would get hit. I don't know. I just think like some of these cards, even if they've had a reprint and are not very much money, could get hit due to getting extra copies out there, but also being able to do foils if they haven't had a foil or different variants. So I think it will be interesting to see what they actually put as some of the lesser valued cards. Moving on to 2013, this set had True Name Nemesis as the big card out of the gate, and it got reprinted a lot with like an extra run of decks that was 2 of the one that had the True Name in it, and then True Name got hit in I forget which set, but it got hit in a supplemental, and then, or maybe it was only in the Time Spiral remaster. But like now, True Name's not worth a whole lot anymore. So starting off, we got Primal Vigor. I'm not 100% sure if they'll do Primal Vigor in this set, but like I almost envision they will. It's a doubling season effect, and I expect doubling season also. So, like, originally, I would think only one of the 2 would make it. But with the way they did Double Masters 22, they put a ton of stuff in that I wouldn't have thought that they'd, like, not necessarily double up, but I wouldn't have expected. So I can well see that I would think that they'd put both. Toxic Deluge has got reprinted a couple times, but still it's pretty pricey. So I would think that might get hit. I was actually surprised the Sharpshooter didn't get hit somewhere else. Maybe that was like a Dominaria remastered. I would have thought that the Sharpshooter would have got hit in. I fully expect Homeward Path to get hit. Probably the whole Tempt cycle. Tempt with Vengeance has avoided getting reprint, and then it I guess is seeing more play lately. Oloro, I don't know if they'd I don't know if they'd reprint him because he was like pretty annoying. Conjurer's Closet is getting hit in the Secret Lairs, I think. So that's probably a dead giveaway that's going to get hit. I think Necrosar would get hit. You kind of got your like Phyrexian Reclamation, Propaganda. I kind of expect a lot of these uncommons and that are pretty decent to get hit. Bane of Progress and Ophiriomancer. Those two got reprints in the like Commander collection, like, so they might get hit again. They're not worth a whole lot. They're around $5. I'm really surprised Fires of Yavimaya is so much. Just thought that was one of the things that was like reprinted to dirt. But though it might be just this specific version. I somewhat expect a Avengers Zendikar reprint, even though it's not too crazy a price. I kind of expect Basalt Monolith. I kind of almost wonder if they'll put True Name in, even though it's worth nothing compared to what it used to be. It was like a $50 card when it came out, and now it's like $3. But Darksteel Mutation's another card that kind of surprised me because it got hit with the Lorehold deck in the 21 Commander 21 series. I didn't think it would hold up for price, but it's seemingly doing pretty good at $2 something, almost $3. I kind of expect Baleful Strix to get reprinted, just because they keep reprinting it in a bunch of different places, so I could easily expect it to show up. I expect Tribe Elder and Bajuka Bog also to make appearances. So, going on to Commander 2014, this was the single color decks, and they had like Planeswalkers as the face cards. So this one starts off with like Cyclonic Rift as the most expensive card. This is a card that I fully expect to be in the set, just because they can, even though it was like last reprinted in Double Masters in 2020, that hasn't really done a whole lot to it. It like knocked it down, I think, to like $20, and then it's now back to $40, which seems crazy a little bit. Another thing I expect as a cycle would be the medallions, because some of them haven't got a major reprint in a while. Like the Jet got reprinted in the Post Malone Secret Lair. The Ruby got reprinted in an anthology, but nothing else really. And the Emerald got reprinted in an anthology. But then, like, the Pearl Medallion is crazy. Like, it never used to be $35. Like, never. If somebody told me Pearl Medallion would be the most expensive one, I would have told them they were joking. Up next would be the Grand Abolisher. I somewhat expect this to be in the set as well, because they seem to double tap like all the cards. Like they're putting it in a Secret Lair, and it's a pretty cool art. But I almost envision it's going to be the same way that Concordant Crossroads was. Like they put Concordant Crossroads in a secret lair, and then 2 days later, it's in this double masters for the Crossroads. So I kind of expect the Abolisher to be in Commander Masters. Amiria Skyruin always surprises me that it's this much money. Like, I always envision it being like a $3 card, not like a $15-$20 card. Sylvan Safekeeper, I would think, would be making it as well. Song of the Dryads and Cryptghast are always sneak up on me. Like, I always think that there'd be much lower value cards. I figure Wormcoil gets a reprieve just because it got put in the Brothers War retro artifacts. But I kind of expect like this. A lot of the cards like Storm Church Kraken, the Angelic Field Marshal, and Comeuppance that were like these commander cards that got no reprints, that are kind of like sneaky valuable. I expect a lot of those to be in the set, and I expect a lot of them to go down to like $1 or $2 at best, because like I feel there's like some demand that will rush in once they get cheaper, but I also don't think that they can hold if they get a bigger print run. Arcane Lighthouse is surprising to me as well, that it's like, because the last time I looked, they were like, it was like $1 or $2, and now it's at $7. Is just seemingly crazy to me. I can see some stuff like the Priest of Titania and Pongify being interesting cards that are pretty cheap but pretty expensive for the rarity. Like, I wouldn't think that they'd be $5 cards still. Like, well, Priest of Titania is really good, but I guess the other thing is I would expect that they would have reprinted it with something with more supply, to make it like a $3 card basically. But it does have quite a bit of just like demand from like casuals, at least kitchen table. It'll be interesting to see how they do it with the drafts boxes, and like what themes and stuff they put in the set. So, like, I somewhat expect like all the rocks. Like, I expect Thran Dynamo, Basalt Monolith from 2013. I expect Reliquary Tower. Like, I expect a lot of the staple commons and uncommons, just because that is something that they can do all those extra, like, borderless and some other variant thing. And I'm sure it'd be relatively well received by people. Like, I was really surprised how some of the cards have like fared with the Commander Legends borderless cards. Like, how some of them have appreciated. Going on to 2015, we have Arachnogenesis, which is a card that I've been waiting to get cheaper, but I always missed it. So I think it's come down a little bit from the last time I looked, but it's a card I fully expect in the set, as it's been something kind of expensive for a little while. Pathbreaker Ibex might be another target. Karloff. I think they might. I would think that they'd leave Urza's Incubator alone just because it was in Dominaria Remastered. But maybe they'll double tap it just because. It'll be interesting to see if they do Eldrazi Monument or like a Chroma's Memorial. Because I kind of expect one of the two of those cards to be in the set. Karmic Justice is a card that I would kind of expect, I guess. I don't know. I'm just going to load the setup with everything. But, Grasp of Fate always kind of surprises me, but it is pretty good. Being an O-ring against everyone. Command Beacon, I would expect in the set. I would expect Phyrexian Arena would get skipped just because it's in 1. Vandal Blast I would expect in the set, or Silence I would expect. Thought Vessel I would expect. Blade of Selves I would think would get skipped just because it was in Baldur's Gate and isn't worth a whole lot. Black Market might be a card that gets hit, even though it was only hit in, I think, Baldur's Gate Commander decks, in the Horror deck, which is a pretty pricey deck considering. I expect like all the Kadama's Reaches, Cultivates, Tri-Builders, all those. And it's pretty cheap for stuff. I expect the boots. I expect the... I don't know. Interesting to see. I kind of expect Solemn Simulacrum, even though it's worth not a whole lot anymore, just because it's a old-time staple of the format. And, yeah, it's pretty cheap here. Just over $1. So, I don't know. What are cards you think from the early Commander sets will get reprinted in Commander Masters? I guess is the question. And guess we'll go from there. I plan to do another one of these looking at the middle Commander sets. And then I plan to look at some of the other blocks and time periods to see what cards are worth, and probably is a good way for at least me to see, like, okay, if I have an extra card of XYZ card, maybe I'd try and move it before it gets reprinted, or maybe I hold off on buying like Arachnogenesis. That's a card I want for a couple of my decks, but it's still expensive, and I'm going to take my chances and wait to see if it gets reprinted and go from there. So, if anyone made it to this point, thanks for hanging in and listening to my ramble. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Take care, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.